Okay, so it's heavy tank weekend on World of Tanks, so I thought time to have a look at one of the other iconic tanks in the game. This is Gamer Dom, and I'm looking at the KV1, which is the Russian Tier 5 heavy tank. Anybody who's done any kind of study of the Second World War will be aware of the history of this tank. When it appeared on the battlefield on the Eastern Front, it was a huge scare for the Germans. It was a massive vehicle that they'd never seen the like of, really, and it had immense armour, very good gun, and they found it really really hard to deal with. And to be fair, in World of Tanks you can have a similar impact. It's not all conquering, but no tank is in World of Tanks. It's a game and things even out. However, it is a very solid heavy tank. So let's have a look at it. As I say, it's a Tier 5 Russian heavy. You get to it, let's have a quick look on the tech tree. So if I got the Russians up rather than... So you get to it via the... just momentarily lost, there we go. So you come through the T26, T46, T28, which are all medium tanks. Medium? Oh no, lights and medium, sorry, correction. I want to complain, I didn't get it right. So you come through the T28 medium, and then you have a choice. Actually, you don't have a choice anymore. I'm sure when I got this tank so long ago, the routes have all changed, so forgive me. But you come into the KV1 from the T28, and it's the first of the Russian heavy tanks. It then runs up through, you can have got split, you can either go up to the KV1S, which for older players who've played the game for a long time will recognise KV1S was one of those super tanks that was completely OP. Used to see hundreds, a bit like the Hellcat, used to see loads of them in games, and then Wargaming nerfed them, and you don't see them very often because it's a bit of a side shoot on the branch. Although if you're going to go for the IS, which I think is probably the best of the Russian lines, in my humble opinion, I've got to the end of that line. I've got to the IS7, but I haven't done the KV line. To be fair, the ST1 is supposed to be fantastic. But whatever, you need to go from the KV1 to the KV1S and around that way, which is a bit of a shame. This is 2 Tier 5. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. From the KV1 you've got the option of another very solid heavy tank with T150, or into the derp world with the KV2, which is just as much fun as you can have with your pants on. So let's have a look at the KV1, because that's what we're talking about. It's a really good solid heavy tank. It's probably the most player friendly tank in the game, I would suggest, in terms of low tier heavies. The grind on it isn't too bad. You start off with a fairly inadequate heavy 76mm gun, but you can pretty quickly upgrade, and the second gun that's available to you on this tank, where you've got this 57, which is just pointless getting, or there's 122, which is actually a really effective gun, and a lot of people play the tank with that as their base gun. They don't actually upgrade to the Tier 6 85mm gun. So, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So the grind's not too bad. You start with that 76, you can pretty quickly upgrade to the 122, and then worry about some of the other upgrades as you get there. You will probably need the tracks. What's the weight? 55.8. Yeah, you almost certainly will need the tracks as your first upgrade before you do anything else on this tank. It is also a tank where it is well worth getting the engine upgrade, because the engine power on this tank is pretty pathetic. So even that extra 50 horsepower that you go from the lower engine, which has a 450 engine power horsepower engine, up to the top engine, which has 500, even that extra 50 is you will need, because it is a very slow tank. The other mods you'll start with this base turret. The upgrade turret is considerably better, has a lot thicker armour, much more useful as a tank, and even if you have no intention to go for the upgraded gun, it's worth having that turret, because you go from, what's that, turret armour, 90, 75, 75 to 110, 110, 110, so it's a huge upgrade in armour. And of course then you can use the 85mm, which I'm currently using. Let's have a look at this beastie. I think it's a nice tank. I think it's a good looking tank as well. So, hit point 640, which is pretty good actually, on the higher side of tier 5 tanks, which is great. You weigh around about 50 tons. So before all the Japanese super heavy tanks came into the game, 50 tons was actually quite a good weight. So in the right opportunity comes up, you can ram quite effectively in this if you get enough speed up, and that's going to be your biggest challenge. With the top engine on this thing, it's 500 horsepower, but that only gives a top speed of 34. And you will need a good bit of flat terrain or a bit of a downward hill to get to the 34. It's quite tough to get there. It's a big beast. 50 tons and a 500 horsepower engine means it's a little bit slack to get going. Traverse speed is 20, which again means it's not the most nimble beast. But hey, it's a heavy tank. What do you expect? One of its weaknesses as a tank is its view range. None of the Russian tanks particularly well, there's a couple of exceptions, but pretty much none of the Russian tanks have very good view range, and this one is almost blind, only has a base view range of 310, which often isn't a problem, because you find that you're relatively slow heavy. You should be in amongst it with the heavies, and you should be brawling it out because you are heavy. Therefore other things will probably spot the enemy before you do, and so your view range isn't such a big issue. However, there are times when you are on your own, or you've lost a few friends, and you find yourself in a situation, or trying to get back to a base, or even trying to attack an enemy base, and you just can't see what's there, and then you just have to close your eyes and keep driving, hoping that the shells that are coming in at you will bounce, because you just won't spot things until you're virtually on top of them. So just the way it is with this tank. Signal range likewise is a little lackluster. 440 with the top radio, which is not the most impressive thing in the world, but radios, who cares? But on the bigger maps it means you may not actually see what's going on the far end of the map, because you haven't got that radio range. But let's get into the stuff that everyone's interested in. So, armour. We've kind of hinted at this already. When you have the top turret on this tank, you have a really impressive armour. 110 all round. So it means this turret is one of the strongest armour tanks you will get at tier 5, and probably even at tier 6 is one of the strongest ones. So if you can get this hull down, just showing your turret, you will bounce shots all day long. Most tanks will have a real job penetrating that, and this gun mantle is very substantial as well, so it's a pretty good turret to bounce things. It's a bit flat on the side, but even so, as a tier 5 tank, you could be facing tier 3s and tier 4s on a fairly regular basis, and very few of those are going to have the penetration to go through 110 of even flat armour. So yeah, it's a beast. The turret is an absolute beast. The hull's a bit less exciting, a bit more disappointing. It's 75 at the front and the side. Now it has got very big tracks, so the side, if you're shooting at the side, some shots will be eaten by the tracks, which means you're tracked, but it does mean you don't take any damage. And the angling at the front here, this upper plate is pretty good. That's really well angled. Look at the angling. it's, what is it, beyond 45 degrees backwards by the look of it, and even the lower plate is pretty good. However, this section here is pretty flat, and I believe the machine gun post there, and this, presumably this is a driver's hatch, are weak spots. So this whole central area here is pretty weak. 75mm, it's not really going to cut the mustard. So your turret's fantastic and your hull's not great. The rear of the hull is 70, which actually is pretty good. So when you've got those annoying little light tanks whizzing around you, and they think, well, you got to the rear, easy pen. But some of them actually struggle to pen 70 in the rear. So that's nice. Guns. Now I hinted at this originally. You've actually got a really good selection of guns. The two top guns. Let's just bring those two out. It's the 122, which if you play any time, if you continue to play down the Russian heavy and even medium line for that matter, the 122 is pretty much a standard gun you will find on all sorts of tanks. There's different variants of it, but the 122 is the big ass gun that the Russian tanks tend to use. You can get it pretty early on this tank, on the KV1, I think from memory, and it was a long time ago I unlocked this, so forgive me, but from memory you need to undo the tracks, but from there you can unlock the gun as your second option, and you know, an upgrade from the 76, which isn't a bad gun at the beginning, but to this 122 is a very good upgrade. However, it has severe limitations, and let's go through that. So the rate of fire is pretty slow. 5.26 is very, very slow, considering most of the tanks you'll be up against will be firing 12, 13, 14 rounds a minute, and you're firing 5. However, when you fire, they have to pay attention because it is a big gun. So the main sort of round in it is HE. You don't even have an AP in it, so you fire HE with an average penetration of 61, which is pretty low. But remember, you're up against lighter tanks, and it's 122mm guns, so it will overmatch a lot of the armour that you're facing. And if it does, you do 450 damage, so you can one-shot a lot of lower tier tanks with this when you're using the 122mm derp gun. And even when you're firing against tier 6 and even sometimes tier 7 tanks, you can do a fair bit of damage with that, firing HE at them. You won't necessarily pen them, but you'll knock out modules, you might knock out crew members, blah blah blah. So even a KV1 with 122 is a nasty proposition. Has premium of heat, and that has 140 penetration, which is amazingly good. Only does 370 damage, but you know, if you're going to use the 122mm derp gun, I would certainly suggest it is a good idea to carry some heat shells, because if you come up against higher tier battles, and remember it's a tier 5, so you can see tier 7 matches, having some heat available will make some of the higher tier tanks take you a little bit more seriously. The dispersion of this gun, the derp gun, is like all derp guns, horrible. 0.57. However, it is a Russian gun, and as anybody who's played the game for any length of time will tell you, something happens with Russian tanks and Russian guns, and you can sometimes, not always, pull off some amazing shots with particularly derp guns at range when they have absolutely no right to hit, and they do. So there you go. The power of Stalin. Aim time is horrible as well. 2.9 is not great. So the 122 is a what's that say about it? It's a bit like the KV2, but at a tier lower. So you doesn't quite have the same output of damage, but you know, people will be scared of you. You will one-shot lower tier tanks with it. You will seriously damage even higher tier tanks. So, and in fact, I played with the 122 for a long time, even when I'd unlocked the 85, because it was kind of fun tank to play with that derp gun. However, in the end, I decided to swap over to the top gun, which is this really nice 85mm gun. So you're going from a slow rate of fire, high alpha gun, to a high rate of fire, because this fires 12 rounds a minute, but about half, well, no, more than half the actual alpha. So, but in return you get good penetration. So the base penetration with armour piercing with this 85 is 120mm, which is pretty good. And firing 12 rounds a minute, 80 with 120 penetration is good. You're not doing a huge amount of damage, 160 per shot, but you know your DPM is going to be really high. With its premium shell, which is APCR, it has 161 penetration, which is very, very impressive. So you will pen a lot of higher tier tanks with 160, so which is good. Still only 160 average damage though. But in return, because you've dropped down to quite a small shell, 85mm, your HE shell is not so effective. So it's 43 is the average penetration, 280 damage. But you know, it's often worth carrying a few HE shells in your tank for occasions when you want to finish off something that's really light and damaged. Or resetting caps and so forth. So if you've got the ammo capacity, which this tank certainly does, it carries a shed load of ammo. So was it 76 rounds. However, you know, you fire a lot of shells, so you know. So the 85 also has slightly better dispersion. Still not fantastic, but it's okay. 0.42. Aim time is not great. 2.9. So you got a fast firing, very high pen, but not terribly accurate gun, if you choose the 85. Let's say, I think either the 85 or the 122. Let's show you what the 122 is. Just, oh, let's buy it. That's it, right, okay. So you can see it's this little stubby. So if you see a KV going around with a stubby gun like that, you know that it's got the 122 derp gun on it. But we're going to put the 85 back on because, on the whole, I think I prefer that one. So, okay. So there we go. It's a really, really fun tank, particularly if you can get in, if you can be top tier and you can bully other tanks in it. Let's go and have a game. Okay, we're on the Siegfried line. It's a tier 6 game. Well, we're heavy, even the lower tier heavy, so there's only one thing to do, that's get our asses in the city. One artillery, yeah, okay, nothing too scary. They've got two pair of KV85s. They've got KV1 and KV1S. We've got more heavies than them. We've got VOP OI experimental. So if we can carry, I mean it's an encounter game, so we need to take the cap. So let's see what we can do. Gosh, this tank is slow. Now we've got a chance. Now we're doing a massive 24 as we whiz along here. Crikey, we've got a lot of tanks sitting back. Actually no, there's a Cromwell. Not our business. We need to keep pushing into the town. See if anyone's actually playing the game or whether they're just sitting back. Bounced. good angle here. Wafted that shot, which was a bit of a shame. Put him on fire, which is really nice. Tracked him again. Killed him, that's good. And tracked in turn. So good side, you can get some good side scraping with this tank. Into that situation, so I was up against two 6 tanks, and really they weren't a problem. So you get around again. You know you want to. But worried about why that T-34 is gone. So I'm going to go around this way. This was the T-34-85 around here somewhere. It's disappeared. Oh, there he is. Damn. I knew he'd be around here somewhere. Come on, you know you can't resist it. Ah! He got me, but I got a good hit into him. What else hit me? Something. Oh, the arty hit me. Okay, so. But there you go. I wasn't so bad. You know, I was a low tier heavy. So the team can finish them up. They should do. They've only got one heavy left. SU-100 is about to die. Good. What else have they got left? There's that T-34 still out there. He's a one-shot kill to most of these things, so that's good. Oh, there's the. He's more of the challenge. This guy. They need to gang up on him. Okay, so they. Watch yourself. Nice shot. Put away and have a look at this. Oh, owned. Owned, my friend. Baited him forward and then he was just taken out. So it's good. What have we got left? They've got that Cromwell who was out on there, out on the flank. They've got what is a Panzer 38 doing out there? I mean, his team must love him. He's a scout and he's hiding at the back. The whole point of scout, guys, if you play scouts, get out there and scout. You get, you know, you just leave your team completely devoid of any idea of what's coming if you don't get out there and do your job as a scout. Just got to do it. Just got to do it. You've got no gun to fire from that kind of range, and you know, sitting back there is just pointless. Absolutely pointless. So anyway, I'm sure none of you ever do that. So. Yep. It's a weird shot by the arm. Come on, kill that Cromwell. Yeah, nice. Big hit. Finish him off. One more. That's GG. Yes, sir. Nicely done. GG.
Microphone activated.
So, see a bit of side scraping from the KV1. It's a useful tank, particularly in a city where people are coming straight at you. That's a really, you know, where it really comes into its own. And you saw I bounced. I took a shot very early from the T-34-85. I don't know where I should have looked where it hit me because I was surprised, because I thought I was angling okay, and pretty much every other shot he and the KV-85 fired at me bounced. Because I was side scraping, so I finished top. That's very nice. 729 base XP. Fired 12 shots, hit with 10 of them, penetrated with only 5. So, I was tough against those higher tier tanks. But anyway, 710 damage is pretty good. Took 8 hits, only 3 of which penetrated, 5 didn't. So again, I was side scraping. It was tough. I took that splash. I was only a splash hit as well. Took quite a lot of damage off me from that arty, which I really have done with. If I had, I probably would have got that T34 85. But the arty took enough out that then his shot killed me. So hey, nearly 800 damage blocked. We even did some spotting. 2 spots. Wow. 27,500 credits, 22.5 after costs, so pretty good. And 1,000 XP, which is very, very nice indeed. So that's the KV1. Really, really good tier 5, proper brawling A5, tier 5. I'm tempted to take it back out. Let's maybe put the other gun on just to show what that's like, the derper. Let's load some shells. Oh, we've got shells loaded. Okay, so let's put a little bit more heat in. The heat tarts. I know. What can you do? And yeah, I'll do. Let's go and take him out and just show the comparison. Okay, so we got lucky this time. It's Erlenberg and we are top tier. It's a tier 5 game. It's a proper tier 5 game that every single tank is tier 5, which is good. Only problem is with the derp gun, it has no accuracy. Well, unless you sentence some dissidents to the gulag and Stalin smiles favourably on you. So I think we're going to cross the river. We'll see whether anybody comes this way. Hopefully we get some support up this way. Just a couple of TDs coming. Oh great, one of their T-34s committed suicide already. Come on, load. Wasn't so bad. Trouble is there, you saw the long load time. Crusade, oh, am I being hit by... Oh, Crusader up there, right, okay, you know. Had to shoot because he was going out of my view range. But we need our scouts now. The view range on this thing is so horrible. Load, load, load. Oh, I should have one-shotted him there. biggest problem with this tank is just its view range. It's just horrible. I've lost my driver now as well. Good, he's dead. I can't move anywhere because of that T. Oh, okay. There's a Skoda out there somewhere and I can't do anything about him at the moment. Even though I'd really like to get down there and give him a firm kicking. I can't because every time I move he's hitting me. Okay, I'm going to go around here and help these boys out. Trouble is, I took so many hits there. Delights of dirt gun. Oh. Come on, reload, reload, reload. Come on, I can track him there as well. Easy peasy peasy. Can't pen me that way, mate. Want my revenge on him. Ah, he's dead. Side scrape. You can side scrape in this thing. So it was a slow burner, that game. We didn't really do much for a while. Ended up with 1300 damage, which is not too shabby. You know, it just shows even with very few hit points, which is what we had at the end there, you can still be quite effective if you can get a good position where you can side scrape a bit. You know, admittedly, our friends there didn't necessarily help their cause. They kept trying to shoot me in the side, and when you're angled like that in a KV1, they got very little chance of penning me. And it might have been interesting if that T-34 hadn't committed suicide at the very beginning on their side, but thankfully he did, and we won. I think we probably still would have done. It looked like we had enough tanks left over, but what was that one? First class mastery. Let's forget which one. This one, Hand of God. Survive a battle having received damage from at least 4 different enemy vehicles. Well, definition of heavy, isn't it? Bruiser, fire for effect, shell proof, steel wall, the Spartan. Oh, that was a 76% chance of winning. Very nice. 1300 damage, 2 kills, 962 base XP. We fired 12 shots, hit with 9 of them, penetrated with all 9. Well, you're not going to penetrate with all 9, we clearly didn't. But we hit and connected and did damage, that's the main thing. For the 1300 damage, received 20 hits, only 6 penetrated. And those were all those early ones when we couldn't see that T-24 Skoda. Blocked 1200 damage. We actually spotted 3 tanks, I guess. KV1, good spotter. No, it's not. 36,000, nearly 37,000 credits. We survived the battle, didn't fire any premium in the end, I don't think. I was tempted to, but I didn't. 31,000 credits. Experience 1400, very nice. So that's KV1. Do you put the derp gun? Or do you put the 85 on? For a long time I only used the derp in it, and then I kind of had a run of games where I just didn't seem to do anything with it, and I got frustrated, and I saw people playing me who had the 85 who just seemed to be able to fire about 3 rounds off for every one I could fire on the derp gun, so I swapped over. I'm now thinking, it's been a little while since I played the KV1, but playing just these few games just to try it out again to do this review, I think I'm tempted to go back to the 122 derp gun. But both are very viable options, and you'll see people play both and play them very, very well. So the choice is yours. But that's the KV1. Another iconic tank, another one of those tanks. I think I've kept it in the garage. I'm not going to get rid of it. I play it every so often. This is about the third set of crew I've put in this one. Played now, how many games have I played? 323 games in it, so 52% win rate, so not too shabby. It's about my average, where I'm about 51-52% player, so that's about right. So there you go. That's the KV1. Nice tank, good fun, really good, solid, literally solid tier 5 heavy tank, and well worth going for if you're looking for a bit of heavy Russian action, so to speak. So this has been Gamerdom. Thanks for watching. Please do consider giving the video a like if you did, of course, and if you didn't, then just don't do anything. And if you fancy getting more videos and seeing more things as I post them, please do consider giving this a subscribe. That doesn't make sense, Dom, but you know what I mean. Anyway, this is Gamerdom. It's late at night and I'm tired, and I hope you have a good day tomorrow or the next day, or whenever you happen to watch this video. Enjoy your games. Remember, it is a game. Try not to get too hot under the collar. I know we all do from time to time, but it is just a game, unlike the poor sods that had to drive these things in real life, or the even poorer sods who had to face them on the battlefield. They had something to worry about, we don't. Gamerdom, enjoy yourselves, see you soon. Thanks for watching.